I'd like to call to order the council meeting for the month of August for the city of Taneytown and ask Councilwoman Fuller to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. All council members are present and accounted for, and our first order of business is the approval of the minutes for June the 6th. Anyone care to make a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved. I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, so carried. Again, I ask the council if there's any conflict of interest that may appear in tonight's agenda.
No, sir.
All right. All right, up for adoption tonight, we have Resolution 2018-08, the water allocation for August. Anyone care to make a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, so carried. Next, we have the city manager's report. Jim, do you have any comments for us?
Sure, just a quick follow-up with regard to the roof repair or the re-roofing of the blower building out at the treatment plant. I did reach out to the County Bureau of Building Construction and County Schools Construction Department. Got a number of roofing contractors. We've contacted 4 of those that the county provided some names, waiting to hear back from a couple of them. One asked for dimensions. It doesn't sound like they're going to send anybody out. And we did have a roofing contractor contact us, and they're going to come out and do a core sample and things. So we should have some more estimates within a week or so. I would like to have authorization, though, to go ahead and contract a roofer. We know that, we have a number that we're comfortable with if we can do a not to exceed. And if we get a better price from somebody who comes out and looks at it or that we're comfortable with, we'll go with a lower price if we get one that we're comfortable with.
Anyone care to make a motion to approve the maximum that's in the bid in your package as the ceiling?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Do we need to list the amount in the motion, not to exceed $22,700?
Yeah,
that would be
Appropriate, yes.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like signs. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else, Jim?
That's all.
Any questions for Jim?
Mr. Mayor, I do have one question. I just want to follow up on, it was not during your tenure as acting city manager, but in March there were emails between the city manager and the council regarding signs at the parks, limiting pets on fenced-in baseball fields. And at the time we were told they'd be taken care of. They're not yet taken care of. Can you follow up with Bob Mitchell regarding that and see that they're put up, please?
Any other questions? Any questions on any of the departmental reports? Before we move into legal, and I'll ask Jay to continue the comments, but I visited Henry Friday and he seemed to be pretty good spirits. He had been through his 3rd treatment and had a nice visit down in Baltimore. I think the idea that he's going to be coming out to a rehab facility in the next little while will be good for him and good for the family. I tried calling him today, but got his voicemail. He hadn't called me back, but I think Jay talked to him. So if he you have any comments that,
He sounded like his old self today, and he is trying to get home on Friday, or to a rehab, probably Lorient is where the target would be, and so he would be here. And his treatments will continue, and he said he is in much better spirits than he was last week. So, sounded like his old self.
so now we can move into the legal report.
Just to follow up on the two things I brought up, because things are actually moving quick now. Creekside, we talked about their sidewalk. Our staff got the punch list out to them, or to me and to Tim, and so I sent it to them, and they looked at it and said they're going to take care of correcting all the punch list items. Dealt with like pavement and things like that, and they'll let us know when they're completed so we can re-inspect. So we may have something to do in September to talk about releasing.
Great.
And then the second item I talked about on Wednesday was the Meats Crossing Railroad crossing and the holdup that's going on. Of course, we haven't fixed the log jam, but the mayor sent a letter to the company at Genesee in Wyoming saying how it wants to be done. And then through Councilman Bigliotti's role, Senator Reedy also sent a letter to them as well. So I don't know if you want to expand on what you did with Senator Reedy, but you know.
Very simply, I reached out to him. I said, hey, Senator, Taneytown needs your help. And instantaneously, he's like, whatever you need me to do, I will help out Taneytown. I love that place. I love its people. I love you guys. And anything I can do to help, I will. And within a matter of hours, his office had a letter ready to go, and he was behind us 100%. So we thank him for that.
Great.
So they're working, this is the Meats Crossing people are still working now with the governor's people to see what can be done to expedite things. Again, it's not a big thing except for executing the paperwork that is going to be. The crossing's there, it's going to be improved, everybody knows that. So it's about getting their attention. They asked whether or not, if they need our help, would we be willing to reach out to the Secretary of Transportation, and I said we'd be happy to if we had, the information to do it. So they said, well, we'll hold off on that right now. But the problem is the crisis of time is that if they don't get this put in, then they can't have people coming in and out and showing anything, and they had hoped to do that for the fall sales. So.
I would certainly think that once they realize there's a sense of urgency involved, that they should respond. I mean, it's not a big deal on their part. They just say, okay.
Right. And you got to change your mindset a little bit here. We look at it as it's the Meats Crossing Railroad crossing, and they're not getting back to the developer. The world, including the railroad, should be looking at it as it's a City of Taneytown crossing, because we filled out the application.
Right.
So they're delaying a city crossing, and they're ignoring us, which, if you think about it that way, should make you a little bit more upset. Than That's all I have.
Any questions for Jay?
No, sir.
Very well. Let's move into the monthly financial report. Do we care to make a motion to approve the monthly financial report?
So moved.
Your second.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question here. I was looking on this page of our reports here.
What's the page number, Councilman?
I'm looking for a page number on the bottom of it. It's a graph here of cash flow for the period July 1st through June the 30th, 2018. And I circled the number under the category net revenues over expenditures, $249,958. I had predicted that there would be a surplus because of the growth we had back during the budget cycle. And then on a different page, page 3, it shows that the total revenue variance is $587,231 for an actual amount over expenditures. Now, I had opposed the council's raising the property taxes by a penny by not yielding to the constant yield rate, and that cost about $96,000 not to raise those taxes, but I didn't get a second for that when I made a motion for it. But you can see on this page and these other pages that there is an excess in excess. There's another page where it looks like the revenues over expenditures is $324,000 over expenditures. And I was trying to pull that page number up, but page 3 if you turn to that in the item we're now discussing, shows that there is a surplus, that it was unnecessary to raise my property taxes this year, and we should have held to the constant yield rate because there is a surplus over expenditures, as I predicted.
Again, the only way your property taxes would have been raised is if your assessment has changed.
No, if you don't hold the constant yield rate and the assessments vary,
If your
you
assessment.
do increase taxes. In order to maintain the same amount of revenue, you have to match the constant yield rate, but the council declined to do so.
Councilman, you do know that from month to month, sometimes revenues will exceed expenditures and sometimes expenditures will exceed revenues. It's not, you can't just look at it from a month-to-month basis. You have to look at it across the entire fiscal year.
Well, this is what these reports are, Councilman Vigliotti. These are the annual reports, and they show that we've collected more revenue than expenditures somewhere between, maybe, Mr. Jim, you can explain why the different reports would have different amounts of excess revenue. On those two different pages, a different number is given for the amount of excess revenue over expenditures. And the amount is a couple $100,000. I couldn't understand why the different reports would have different
One may be the
positive cash
utility
flow
fund and
numbers.
one's the general fund.
I was going to
That's
say
part of
because
it.
they're different reports.
Right. They're
One's
talking about two
utility,
different
one's
things.
general.
Yeah, the town has made substantially more in revenues than they have in expenses, and just over $250,000. It wasn't necessary to raise the taxes a penny. We had people testify against raising the taxes a penny. And I think this shows that that's correct. With all the growth, we do have extra revenues coming in this time.
Can we first stop with the false narrative of raising taxes? Because, as has been explained, I'm going to do it one more time for you. We did not raise taxes. We kept the rate the same. The state may have raised or lowered assessments or kept those the same. While your taxes may have gone up, Judas may have gone down. Mine may have stayed the same. That's how constant yield works. What it's saying is, as a whole in the city of Taneytown, if we had taken what they recommended for constant yield, the city would have taken in theoretically the same amount of money as the previous year.
Correct.
Your taxes may still have gone up if your assessment had gone up in that time, even with a lower tax rate. But other people may have gone down, some may have stayed the same. The false narrative that we raise taxes needs to stop because it's wildly misleading.
No, it's the same. The county did the same thing. They've raised the taxes 1.8 cents on $100 of assessed value. And so has the town of Taneytown by a penny. And that's what the discussion was in
Well,
April
actually,
and May.
it wasn't
By
quite-
not matching the constant yield rate, you knowingly collect more revenue this year than last year.
That's correct, to make up for the services that we now have to provide to those additional houses that came in. The state doesn't account for growth.
Well, if we could
The
figure
estimate
out
was
how to
given,
hold
Mr.
our
Mayor.
expenses to the same point they were last year, we wouldn't have to go with the constant yield tax rate.
Well, the
But
point
see, the
is, from
stuff
me bringing
people
up the
charge
financial-
us, they charge more for.
the point
Nothing
is
ever goes down.
that our excess revenues are somewhere between $250,000 and $750,000 last year. And we certainly could have afforded to kept the constant yield rate.
Well, that's
that's-
what you try to do. You try to make sure that you're over budget, not under budget.
And Mr. Mayor, I think we should wait until the final numbers actually come out, because it is noted on here that these are not the final numbers for this year that it's showing.
Well, this is
So
July 1st.
we're a little premature, right? And if you-
No. This is July 1st of 17 through June 30th, 2018. So these are real numbers here. on
Correct,
this
so, but,
Okay, that-
Councilman, I'm going to ask you to read right here,
He's on a different year. We're looking at
where it says
2018,
not final July through June
2017,
numbers.
2018.
And it's also noted down here. You can't pick and choose the information you want to use. You have to take the whole thing.
Well, Willie Sutton said he robbed banks because that's where the money is. And the fact is that we have the money not to raise taxes in this year, but we went ahead and did so.
I have it in mind.
Not by not holding the constant yield rate.
Prudent financial management requires that any surplus is put in reserve. Over the years, for the last 8, 9 years during the recession, we hit our reserves funds significantly. And if indeed there's a small amount of surplus, which $250,000 represents, it should be going back into the reserves. I'm not sure that you understand what you're looking at. But again, it's just like Councilman Watt says, taxes weren't raised. The tax rate is the same as it was last year. The only difference between your taxes this year and last year was if your assessment changed. And that's due to the real estate market. That's not due to the city's tax rate.
And that is a fact that can't be argued. It is, by and large, a fact. And you can twist it
Mr.
however
Mayor?
you want, but we did not raise taxes by a penny, as you claim.
Mayor Jim?
When you hold the same rate, you do effectively raise taxes.
Just, our attorney needs to make a comment.
When you
here.
collect more
Let's-
revenue.
Let's take a break and let him speak.
I want to, I mean, just for your edification of what you're looking at here, there's a couple different themes here. First of all, what you're looking at is 1 month's data. Okay, it says July 1st, 2018 to June 30, 2019. If you look at the data, it's all zeros except for July. The agenda and the packages had to be prepared by August 1st, which means they were doing it in the end of July's month. Meaning the data, when it says July's numbers aren't finished, is because Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the 30th, 31st, they were still preparing this for you, so they're not even giving you the full July numbers. And one of the things you have to realize is you have two major forms of revenue on the general fund: real estate taxes and income taxes. And they get paid in July and December. So you have a big influx of income in those months, but you don't have any more income in the other months. But your expenditures are constant throughout the year. So you can't take 1 month of partial data and match it against revenue, because it doesn't work that way in general accounting. Your utility fund is similar in the fact that you get impact fees and water rents. Water rents happen quarterly. So you have a big influx of income every quarter, but you have expenses that happen every month. So you can't take 1 month and say that's what the picture is for the year. That's the bottom line.
The bar graphs that are included in your packet illustrate that. All right, let's move on. Anyone care to
Before we
make-
vote on it, I just wanted to say that the numbers are this: 4,011,284 less expenditures, 3,424,053 for a year-end more revenue than expenditures of 587,231.
Councilman
So that's the year-end numbers for this year, and my question is, why didn't we react to that when given the budget for next year, that we were going to have that kind of surplus?
Councilman, you're drawing on numbers from what year again, please?
The year just passed that we had that kind of surplus.
Okay, what were the years? What were the numbers?
It's on page 3 if you'll review the numbers. The numbers don't lie.
Councilman, I'm
It's
asking
right here,
I'm asking you
587,
for the
231.
years. I'm asking you for the years that you're drawing.
Fiscal year 18 budget variance revised is shown on page 3, and that's the number I read, and it compared the revenues versus expenditures.
So you're talking about budget numbers from last year that we went over in the spring, and we're talking about the first month of fiscal year 2018, 2019 here.
Well, this is the first report where we can see that what we talked about in March, April, and May has come to pass, that we had substantially more revenue than expenditures.
As I explained and as our council explained, revenue comes in at different points in different amounts, and then our expenditures cover the other months. You can't just look at 1 month in and of itself, you have to look at the entire year.
The penny that was raised on the taxes, even though the rate stayed the same, was equivalent to about $97,000. We surely could have
think it was
afforded
more like
to give that
78.
kind of relief to homeowners. I know our tax bill for municipal line is very high.
All right, well, we're not going to be able to get through the fog here, so hopefully, folks, if you understand what we're saying, is that revenue comes in at 12 different times during the year, and expenses go on 12 months out of the year. And when we receive the revenue, it looks like we got a lot of money until we
Till you pay
go
the
for
bill.
3 months in a row and don't have any revenue.
So you pay the bills.
The graph shows 248,000, and I thought that was a discrepancy, and that may be the monthly variance.
Mr. Mayor, I call the question.
Still a
All
quarter
right.
of $1 million
Let's
more than
cease
expenditure.
discussion and ask for the question, please. All in favor of approving the financial report, say aye.
Aye.
And
The
opposed?
facts.
Did you have, was that a no vote?
He voted aye.
Sure, it's the facts.
All right. Let's go into the accounts payable. Anybody have any, care to make a motion on the accounts payable?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I have a couple questions on the accounts payable, a few things I didn't understand. I take a substantial amount of time to look at these expenditures in studying the packets that are given to me. On the first page of the accounts payable, it says $811 for postage for the Taneytown Record. I've noticed an increase in mailings for the Taneytown Record. I get them in every box I've got. I get a copy in my P.O. box. I get a copy in the Tri-District Republican P.O. box. I get a copy at home. My neighbors all get a copy in the mail. And then there are copies in the town office, and copies in the post office, and copies in most of the convenience stores. Well, the fact is that I think the Taneytown Record should not be sent out to every P.O. box if it's going to cost $811 a month to do so. Why is the postage so high?
Costs money to send these things.
When I was elected,
That's a-
this was not a category in the accounts payable,
That-
because we did
that
not
has-
mail the
That has to be
Taneytown
taken
Record
up
out.
with the postal service. We can't control what the postage is.
Well, we didn't mail the Taneytown Record out when I was first elected. On
Goes
page
to all
3,
21787 addresses.
on page 3, there is a $9,209.91 bill that has been paid in this month for the Carroll Cable Regulatory Commission. I do not understand that. I was wondering maybe if the town manager could tell me why we pay that and how and why it is such a large number.
A portion of the franchise fee that we get through Comcast, through cable company, is we have an agreement to support the community media center. So a percentage of that franchise fee goes to the media center. That's what
And
we're
the
paying.
town treasury has
As
to
does
pay
the
that number.
county government and the other municipalities in the town. All of us share to support the community media center from the franchise fees we receive from Comcast.
And
That's our portion.
so the town treasury has to pay that every month, about $9,000 as part of our franchise?
No, that's quarterly.
It's a quarterly payment. Okay.
But again, we're receiving a franchise fee much higher than that.
The Taneytown gets the receipts higher than that?
Yes. We receive franchise fees from Comcast, and a percentage of that, as was explained, is then sent to the cable commission, the regulatory commission with the county, to support the media center.
Okay, my final questions, thank you for that response. My final questions are on page 1112. I have noticed that there's an invoice here for legal expenses for April and March and May that total $26,206.25. And I divided it by the amount that I have heard in past meetings that we pay our city attorney. And it comes out to over 20 hours of billing a week for the last 8 weeks, or these actually 3 months is 3 fourths or 12 weeks. And so I don't understand why the legal fees come up to 94 hours in March and 62 hours in May and 53 hours. I've never been in favor of the attorney attending every meeting, and I always thought that the boards and commissions could, unless they had legal problems, they could call upon the town attorney. I've never been in favor of billing these things. I just think this is an excessive amount for legal services, and I wanted to call it to your attention because I'm concerned that maybe in Henry's absence, there's a lot more legal work to do. There's a couple papers in here about the ridiculous charges the town has against a private citizen that says that $10,000 other dollars were spent pursuing that wild goose chase, and I don't understand why our legal fees totals $26,000 for 3 months. That makes our town attorney making almost $100,000 a year.
Well, Councilman, let me remind you that our council charges us the lowest rate of any city or municipality that he serves. He does it as a personal favor to us. He does it because he likes us, right? That's number one. So he's not charging us exorbitant fees. Number two is the fact that, yes, he attends all of our meetings. He's already had to give out his expertise tonight several times. And it's not only these meetings that he attends, he also has to attend commission meetings. He has to attend, I think, planning and zoning, correct? And in addition to that, he has other duties for this town. It's not just, dealing with us here at the meetings. He's got to deal with developers. He's got to deal with, getting in touch with officials. He's got to deal with moving things. It's not just these meetings that he shows up to. He's constantly working for us.
I'm surprised that you don't think that those numbers are excessive during those months.
I get weary of discussing this every month. Whether you agree with the attorney's fees or not really doesn't make any difference, Don. You'll have the opportunity to make a motion to switch attorneys if you'd like. And if somebody seconded it and the council approved it, we'd go out and get another attorney.
I'm just not, if it comes out to
But that's
about
all you'd have to do.
20 hours a
And
week,
if
it's a lot.
you don't want to do that, you just got to accept it.
Well, 20 hours a week is a lot
Well, it is.
for legal advice.
Is that what you think?
20 hours
Is
a
that your
week is a
opinion?
half full-time job. And I don't think a small town like this should have that much to do. There are some things.
Well, I guess that
happening.
just shows how much you don't know.
I'm actually surprised it's only 20 hours a week, quite frankly. I mean, considering the county has a staff of, 5 attorneys? So I remember the comment being made how the county doesn't have attorneys at all their meetings. No, but they've got 5. They're paying anyway, whether they're at the meetings or not. And one of their attorneys makes more than what he's billing us for.
Well, just compare the budget.
Well,
number of
again,
taxpayers in town
we don't
compared
need to
the
discuss
county.
this any further. You know how to change an attorney. If you want to change the attorney, make the motion, get
No, I
support.
just don't I just
and we move
asked if
on.
you could explain why there was such an excessive amount of billing.
And I think
No
that's
explanation necessary.
It's not excessive, Councilman.
He gives me a detailed report every month that I examine. If I have any questions, I ask him.
Well, I'd encourage you to look over.
If I don't, I sign the check.
Mr. Mayor, I call the question.
All in favor of approving the accounts payable, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
I'm opposed to spending that much money on legal fees in a 3-month period of time.
All right, let's move into the revisions for Chapter 85, open burning. Jim, do you have some guidance for us there?
Just like some direction, whether you entertain a chapter revision, a Chapter 85 revision or not. If you're open to considering a text amendment in the next month or so, we'll go ahead and draft something and have it for the September workshop.
Can I ask a question? You don't want any action on that? You're going to give us language before we act upon it?
Correct. We just
Okay.
want some direction right
'Cause
now,
I didn't get
whether
a
to
chance
move
to
forward or
study
not.
We don't have it. Mr. Mayor, I think we should entertain amendments to that.
Okay,
Agreed.
Yes.
by consensus,
Yes, sir.
we'll move forward with that then, Jim. All right, ratification of the Tannery Bond Public Works Agreement. Anyone care to make a motion to ratify the Tannery Bond Public Works Agreement?
So moved.
So moved. Second?
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, so carried. Next, we have the Syrian property, and this is the question about whether we take an option on the 4 acres that would be in the right-of-way for the mythical bypass.
And this is all proposed. So when you vote on this, it doesn't mean we're
Yeah.
getting an option. We're starting to negotiate for an option.
Okay.
Okay?
Anyone care to make a motion?
So moved?
I'll second. Okay.
Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I believe there was talk of empowering the mayor up to a certain amount. Is that still a discussion? Are you prepared to give us a figure to consider for that?
It would be 22,000,
For the entire 4.4?
4 acres.
is the figure that we've discussed.
Or less?
Or less. Yeah, we like people less.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to amend the motion that we include that figure as the cap for you to authorize without further approval from the council.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign, so carry. Next, we need direction on the Sewell annexation. We talked at the workshop that we would report to the acting city manager to allow them to proceed with their annexation plans, and we would deal with it as it came down to us. So,
I'll make that motion.
and a
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
I'm opposed. I think it's premature to look at the Sewell annexation until we build all these houses. Okay. It's crossing.
All right. Very good. Now we'll have council member reports. Councilman Frazier, do you have anything for us tonight?
I'm just thrilled that we were able to accomplish so much in the last 2 meetings that we had together, and I want to thank the councilmen for working together along with staff to finish up so many projects. I was pleased with the sidewalk being done and getting ready to release those letters of credit. I think that is a wonderful development that we've been successful in making the developers complete these projects. And I'd like to thank the staff and the council for that.
Well, good thing we have our attorney for that, so.
Yeah, I think does it.
Councilman Wentz, do you have any comments?
Mr. Mayor, I serve on the board of the Taneytown Lions baseball, and I was privileged to direct a tournament for our 10U team, which involved 5 other 10U teams from around the area as far away as West Virginia. And I just wanted to kind of provide you a report of how that went. It went on the weekend of August 4th and 5th. We used 2 of the baseball fields. Regardless of the rain, we got the fields playable. The night before the tournament was supposed to begin, we were hit with a very strong rain, and it did damage the fields, but we were able to get them all playable in time for the tournament to occur. The good news is we were able to raise, at first glance, approximately $2,100 for the baseball league, which will go towards, obviously, the children who play in the league, and also improvements to the baseball fields as we use them and try to make them the best they can be, which then lowers the burden on the city. So I just want to make everyone aware that it was a great tournament, and next year we're looking to do 2 weekends and have 3 tournaments spread between the 2 weekends. So keep an ear out, it'll be next June. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Diane?
Just that economic development-wise, Taneytown is doing great these days. I'm sure, as everybody has seen, all of the positive articles in the Carroll County Times over the weekend. Our own Easy Does It is participating in Restaurant Week. I don't know of any others, but economic development is on a roll, as I like to say. Oh, thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Also, the official ribbon cutting for George's on York is this Saturday at 10 a.m. So,
You near Bay Square?
yes, all are welcome. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Vigliotti.
Well, 2 very brief things tonight. First of all, we had National Night Out last Tuesday. It was a fantastic success. We had probably about 200 people, even with the rain that we got, even with the storms we got. Most of council was there. The mayor was there as well. Our city attorney was also there. We also had a number of department heads who were there as well. It was an incredibly enjoyable time, and it certainly, really does help foster a sense of community between the people who protect us and the people ourselves, right? It helps us gives us a better idea of how they do their job. It gives us a better idea of how they go about doing their work on a day-to-day basis, which, in my mind anyways, fosters a sense of understanding, which is so frequently lacking in other places. And then in addition to that, Councilman Wentz and I both had the opportunity to do a field shadowing with the chief. And Councilman, if you'd like to add anything else to this, feel free. Basically, we rode around with the chief for 4 or 5 hours one Friday evening a couple of weeks ago, and we got to see firsthand how our law enforcement handles traffic stops and calls and things of that nature. And to no end was I impressed and amazed at the professionalism and the courtesy and the caliber of our officers that evening. And we really are blessed to have the people we do who are serving us.
Great.
And that's it from me.
Councilwoman Fuller.
First, I wanted to kind of say thank you to everybody that's contributed Christmas items, because we have gotten a huge outpouring, I think a little more than even Nancy thought we would, because she is just beside herself with how many things have to go back into that storage shed. We've made some progress on the Christmas direct decorations, and we've already talked to some companies about getting the lights out on the poles. Kevin's been wonderful, getting ready to get those poles wired so that we can get electricity. So hopefully we'll see something up here about approving whatever needs to be approved.
Very good
Or
news.
it doesn't, I don't remember what the cost is gonna end up being. Also, with the common grounds being open, I don't know if anybody's had a chance to go over, it's a great place, but the one thing I've noticed is that we've really picked up a lot of the foot traffic in the square. And just for a cautionary tale, there was somebody crossing the road when a car tried to beat the light and almost hit this girl, and it was scared the bejeebers out of me. If I'd had something in my hand, I probably would have thrown it at the car, because he just didn't even see her, and then yelled at her for crossing the road on the cross. You know, she had the little walking dude. So if everybody could just be more careful when they're at the square, going through the lights for the pedestrians, that would be much appreciated. I know that a lot of the parents and the dancers come across the street often too, so that is enough. That is it.
You know, I just want to say that, kind of echo Diane's comments regarding economic development, that she and I and Nancy had the opportunity to go down the Carroll Business Challenge that sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce, Carroll County Chamber of Commerce, and it was a very, very good night for Taneytown. Not only did 2 Taneytown businesses show themselves well, they were one of 2 of 5 finalists, which I don't think has ever happened before. The prize winner, both the People's Choice Prize winner and the grand prize winner, was Brewery Fire, which is a new mini brewery that's going into where the old Curves was, up at the bowling alley. So that is an exciting thing. This is, you know, these mini breweries are destination points. People travel. I mean, they go from here to there to everywhere to find these mini breweries, and they're a lot of fun. So that's exciting. Floral. I need to learn how to pronounce the name of that
Fets.
store. Fets. I want to say festies all the time, but it's Fets. Okay. Put on an excellent presentation. I thought they certainly had the best business plan of any of them. I don't think that they went into the detail on some of the business plan that they're having to offer, and we're blessed to have a caliber, that kind of business in Taneytown on Main Street. So excited about the things that are to come, and just wanted to mention that. Something else that blew me away, and this goes back a few weeks. I was, it actually was the same day as the Terrier trials down at the park, which was the first Saturday in June, which was another neat event that occurred. Oscar the Wonder Dog was there among Jack Russell Terriers from all ilks, all around the county. But anyway, I also attended the 120th consecutive family reunion for the Hill family, the Hill Cook family. Hill Cook family has been part of this community from almost its beginning. And it was mind-boggling thing to think that since 1898, this family has been meeting every single year in Taneytown and celebrating their heritage. And ever since 1951, when the Memorial Park first opened, they've been meeting in the Memorial Park. And that is I don't know that there may be other families in the part of the country that can exceed that, but I bet there's not many. And it was just a amazing thing. I was just so tickled to be there. One other thing that I wanted just to mention tonight, coming up in September, we'll be talking more about this. I had a meeting with a member of the, a couple members, 3 members of the Lions Club and the Chamber of Commerce, which there were only 3 people there, but they happened to be members of both. But anyway, and they approached me and said, would you be interested if we would pursue the development of the Creamery building as a downtown focal point / indoor sports event or activity. And their idea is to raise funds, and they've talked to fundraisers already. I mean, people who are professional fundraisers, to kind of get this done. And I said, well, I thought we'd certainly be open to something like that. And I think when we meet next, we should probably have that on the agenda to explain, to explore a little bit, get some of the ideas, maybe ask one of them to come in and give a little presentation on what they have in mind. So that could be something exciting coming up too. This was just last week, last Wednesday, I think it was. One last reminder was as the fall conference is coming up. I mentioned that hurriedly at the end of the meeting last Wednesday, but October the 10th to the 12th, it's in Annapolis this year, and you want to get the reservations in if you want to go. You don't have to go for the whole 3 days. You can go down for a day. If you have something in particular that you'd like to see or workshops you'd like to attend, and just remind that to you. So that's the only comments I have. So with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn, and then we're going to reconvene in an executive session to talk about a personnel matter. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Can you read that on the bottom?
All right, to adjourn, okay, let me just reread it. I guess it makes it legal. Adjourn to a closed session pursuant to Section 3-305B1 of the General Provisions Article of the Maryland Annotated Code to discuss a personnel matter.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No.
Reconvene in,
No, I vote no on that.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I don't think we should meet in executive session today. I've thought about it since you called me this morning, and I don't want to meet in the executive session. My attorney has advised me not to go into executive session, so I didn't want to do that. I voted no on that.
now it's 4-1.
We're in closed session.
Reconvene in 10 minutes, 25 after 8. We'll reconvene. Thank you.
Meeting here?
Here.
In here or back in the room?
We'll meet right here.
Be right here? Okay. Great.